Welcome to Module 2.3, all about creating an Instagram style guide. I'm really excited to share this with you guys. I actually went through a style guide branding module in a course that I took last year that was all about web design, and I thought it would apply really well to sort of crafting the brand identity for your Instagram account. So, why should you create a style guide? Well, a style guide is basically one long document, almost like a Pinterest format, a very vertical document where you can list all of your ideas. You can get the ideas that are in your head about how you might want your Instagram account to look. You can put them out there on this guide, and it's a place where you can kind of put all of your inspiration in one place and you can refer back to it as often as you need to sort of reinforce what you want your account to look like. It's also really great at identifying your vibe, not just of your images, but also of your captions. What is your voice like on your Instagram account? Are you super friendly? Are you very authoritative? Do you like to swear on your account? I don't know. This is the place where you can list it all out. And what's really wonderful about this, not only can it help you identify what you want your account to be like and give you more direction, but if you have a team or a support staff that manages your account alongside you now, or if you're going to have someone like that down the line, this is a document that you can share with them so that they can see at a glance exactly what your brand is all about on Instagram. And maybe your brand's a little bit different on Instagram than it is on your website. Maybe it's a little bit more playful. Maybe you have more user generated content that doesn't exist on your website. So I think it's really helpful to create a style guide just for your Instagram account. So, what kind of stuff should you include? I outlined a little bit of it just now, but a style guide typically shows fonts and brand colors. It might show what kind of logos you use in different areas. If you have sort of like a sub mark for your brand that's a little bit different than your logo, that's all the kind of stuff that's typically on a style guide. But for this one, we're also going to identify hashtags and keywords that you use on your account, what kind of emojis you use and how you use them, the grid format of your account. So, if you haven't watched the grid format lesson in this course yet, please go back and do so because you're going to probably want to apply some of that to this style guide. And then also, you might want to identify what your profile picture looks like because that could sort of set the tone for your account. You know, is it a picture of you? Is it a picture of your logo? Or is it a picture of something else? So let me show you guys exactly how I do this. I'm going to go into screen share mode. So we're going to hide this presentation. And I'm going to open up Pinterest. So I put this together. I love using Pinterest. And I put this together over the course of a day or two. And what I want to encourage you to do while you're putting together this, like an inspiration board, inspiration Pinterest board for your brand, is to just kind of let your creative juices flow. Use the search bar up here to search for anything that you want. You can see I searched for my font. That's my brand font, iridescent, stand up for women quotes, neon signs. These are some of my recent searches that I was using to come up with what I found here. And it was really fun because Pinterest also will recommend similar images. And as I was searching, I found some places that I've actually been to in my travels. So this is a house in New Orleans that I have a photo of. This is a street in Paris that I have photos of me standing on. So I included those here in my inspiration board on Pinterest because I know that they're images that I have at my fingertips that I can use on my account. I also found that I really enjoyed photos that had sort of like a collagey, artsy feel, like that one and this one right here, and also this one and that one. I just thought they looked really, really cool. And I love all the iridescentness and I was pinning up a storm. I was pinning all of these things. I love these sort of funky, colorful fonts and fun things, and I love neon as well. So these were all the things that I put in my style guide inspiration board. Now I just want to tell you, I set this as private, so it has this little lock right here. If you hit the edit button, I didn't put a description because this is a private board. So I guess actually secret is the term that Pinterest is using. So I have it marked as a secret board. And even on a secret board, you can have collaborators. So if you have other team members that work with you, you could add them in here if you wanted to have people collaborate on this board with you. But so looking at this, how am I going to take this and turn it into my Instagram account? Because I don't own all of these images. I don't have access to all of these images. It just sort of serves as inspiration for me right now. These are just things that I found that I really like. And I had a lot more additional pins on here, but I kind of narrowed it down. So that's something that I would encourage you to do, is to pin for as long as you'd like. Set aside like a day or a couple days when you might want to do this. Give yourself some time. Here's another place that I have photos of me at, which is the Saguaro Hotel in Palm Springs. So I tried to put locations and things that I've actually been to that I have photos of, because I know that I can use those on my account. Some other things are like these watercolor crystals. That's actually part of my existing branding. And I loved how the watercolor crystals kind of came to be in this watercolor quote image. It's not even written in English, so I'm not sure what it says, but I still loved the look of it. So give yourself some time. Pinterest will even recommend other ideas for other things you might want to put on here. These are recommendations from them. And let yourself, here's more ideas even. Let yourself just kind of go crazy pinning up a lot of things. And then once you feel like you've pinned, I don't know, 30 to 50 different inspiration images, then go back in and you can edit it down a little bit. I would love to see if you pinned a variety of photographs, quotes, graphics, fonts, just different things that really speak to you, and even just like messages that you like that are kind of going to represent the tone of your account. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So once again, here are my images that I've decided sort of serve as my inspiration. And if we minimize it, then you can sort of see them all at once. And it has a really cohesive tone, lots of pinks and lots of lavendery, lilac-y kind of colors, but also lots of quotes. Maybe like a third of these are quote type images. So you're going to see as I show you next on my style guide that I've created how I translated this over to that. Okay, ready? All right, here we are in Canva. So if you're not familiar with Canva, let's just go home here. And this is a wonderful design tool that you can use for free on the internet. And what I actually typed into here, they have all these templates that you can use, but I searched for infographic because I know that that is going to be a very vertical image. And that is a type of format that I like to use for style guides. So over here, there's a bunch of different templates that you can choose from, and you can edit everything. So we'll slide down. I can't remember which one I actually started with, but let's just go back here and I will open up my file and show you what I came up with. So there it is. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to show you, I just titled it Instamistic Instagram Style Guide. I have my different brand colors. I'm using this lilac a lot more on things, and then this pink is a pink that I've always used. These are the watercolor crystals that are already part of my brand. I picked out this photo as one of my favorites. So these are 3 images from Pinterest that I identified as sort of setting the vibe of my account. 2 of the quote ones, one says the future is female, and the other one says each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women. Those 2 not only define like the vibe of the images that I want to use, but they also define the vibe of the tone of the messaging that I want to put out there. I want my account to be very supportive of other women and very female first. So these are the photos that I came up with for that section. So you can choose what you'd like to use. Under hashtags, you can see I did not put a list of like 30 different hashtags. I just put hashtags that I felt were the most defining of my account. So these are some of my favorites, and they also sort of double as keywords or key themes to my account. So women supporting women, inspire my Instagram, collaboration over competition. I had this thing with pink, obviously. Call to be creative, and create a life you love. So these are some hashtags that I really liked. I threw in this little hashtag graphic, which is a free graphic that you can access through Canva if you go over here to Elements and search. Well, actually, I searched hashtag, and this is what I came up with this yearbook one. I ended up just using a font called Finger Paint for this one. But if you search up here, you can find tons of other graphics and things that you can use. All right, so next up is content guidelines, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Oh, apparently we're going to make it full screen. I didn't want to do that. Hold on. All right, I just wanted this to be bigger so you guys could really see it. Content guidelines, I identified a couple of different areas of my profile that are important and are going to have a certain visual or verbal tone to them. So for captions, my captions, I want them to be inspiring and motivational quotes. Stories of my own experiences, that's really important for me. I share a lot of firsthand experience on my account. Quick, fun questions. I don't like every caption to be really long. Usually my stories are long, but if I put in some quick, fun questions, I think they can get a lot of just like instantaneous comments and responses from people. It's also important that I include call to action about new profile links. Whenever I have a new blog post or a new freebie come out, that's always in the link in my profile. So I want to make sure that my captions have a call to action for people to click on that. I also want to do captions that include fun facts about me that are just sort of lighthearted. And then it's important to not forget to include descriptions of my services and products and testimonials from my clients and students like you. So those are all the kind of things that I want to have in my caption. So it's really helpful to identify this in one document so that if I'm ever sort of experiencing writer's block or creative block and I don't know what I want to write, I can look back here and get some ideas for my captions. Now, voice is sort of the tone of voice of my account, and I have identified that as badass boss babe because I want my account to be very empowering and powerful women and dominating your business and just being awesome. And I thought that badass boss babe sort of defined exactly what I want my voice to be. Next up, under emojis, I've identified that I want to use them frequently to punctuate sentences and line breaks. Use frequently in replies. So I've defined this because I don't really want to have a ton of emojis all over the place. I don't use emojis in replacement of words. Like I would never use an emoji of an apple to replace the word apple. Instead, I use it to sort of break up sentences, or if I have a line break, I'll use emojis in there to sort of break up the lines. And then in replies, I use them a ton. I'm always using like the hands up or a high five or a heart or something like that because they really help me leave quick replies to my commenters. Okay, the next thing I've identified is grid. So here, again, if you haven't yet, please go and watch the grid method class. Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied. Go back and watch the grid method class so that you can familiarize yourself with how to come up with a grid method for your account. And so what I've done here is included a screenshot of my account so you can see what my grid looks like. And then I've also just written it out. So a quote graphic every third image, a mix of art, crystals, and photos of me. So that's exactly what I have here. This neon is a type of art. I actually took that photo. This is a mural I took a photo of, and this is from Unsplash. The others are photos of me from different conferences I've been to, and then of course these are my quote images over here. So just identifying how I want my grid to look and what it's going to be comprised of is really helpful. Okay, then on to hashtags. So I've identified that I want to use 3 to 10 hashtags at the end of my caption or in the first comment. So for me, I don't really use hashtags in conversation in my captions. I don't really put hashtags just like sprinkled throughout my caption. They're always going to be at the end or in the first comment. And I've identified just using 3 to 10 because I have found that that works really well on my account. Next up is stories. So, stories are very important on Instagram these days. They just surpassed 500 million daily users or viewers of stories as of February 2019. So, that is pretty cray. So, it was important for me to include on my style guide some information about how I'm going to use stories and how I'm going to portray my brand in my stories. So I'm going to do a mix of selfie style videos telling my story, sharing my Instagram practices. I also like to include little photos or videos of books that I'm reading, so I've called that book club in here. And it's also important to me to include pictures of my workspace. So I think that a lot of my followers are interested in seeing other people's workspaces. That's something that's always kind of coming up. So if I'm working from home with my dogs or in a cute coffee shop, I like to include that in my stories. But as you can see, it doesn't really have a place on my grid. And wherever I'm going in my daily life probably isn't as pink as my grid is. So that's why all of that kind of content can end up in my stories. Now, I've also identified that I want to use GIFs frequently, location tags, polls, and use filters liberally. So I love using filters, especially on my Instamistic account. There's so many glittery, sparkly face filters that I can put on that sort of embody the shiny, crystally vibe of my account. And then last of all, I have profile picture. This is one of my favorite pictures. I have pink glitter in my hair and pink lipstick on and a pink princess dress on. And I think it just really embodies my brand, especially when I see everything all in one place here. It really works for me. So let me just zoom that, a little too far, zoom that back out so you can sort of see it in its entirety. So this is something that you can save to your computer. I have saved it as a PNG file, and then I'll probably keep it on my desktop and I can reference back to it whenever I feel like it. And just to kind of give you a little more insight into how this has worked for me, after creating this style guide, I was really inspired. I felt like I needed to refresh my quote images that are always on one column of my grid. I just felt like they had gotten a little bit stale. And after finding all of these beautiful, amazing pictures on Pinterest, I really wanted to sort of up my game on my quote images. So let me just open up Planoly because I actually was just working on this morning. And I want to show you guys how I took all of that inspiration and actually put it into play on my account. Whoops, we'll have to go reauthorize that. Okay, so if I just scroll down here a little bit, these are some new images I've added. So these are my old quote images, which are just a standard pink backdrop, and I sort of varied the color a little bit, so there was a slight ombre effect, and I had my watercolor crystals. Well, I decided I wanted like some more just fun galaxy watercolor kind of fun vibes. So I came up with this to sort of transition myself, and I'm gonna slowly kind of start making them a little bit funkier and cooler. So the next one after that has a crystal kind of backdrop overlay on it. And I created these using Photoshop. That's where I create my quote images. Another image that I created is this photo, which is a photo of me from the Saguaro Hotel in Palm Springs, but I've put the quote, "The future is female," over top of it. So if you go back and look at my Pinterest board, let's just zoom it in a little bit. I went too far back. So we have this one, "The future is female." I just love how that looked with the blocking around the text. It looks really, really cool, and I love it a lot. Uh-oh, guys, I'm gone. gone rogue here. Trying to show you all the things at once. So I took the inspiration from that image, which with the future is female over top, but then you can see I also have this photo of the Saguaro Hotel back here. So it really, I kind of combined those two images with my own image to make it totally original, so I'm not stealing anyone's work or anything like that, and it totally fits my brand because it has my colors. You can see I even used my lilac-y color and my railway font. I also have taken, this is an image from Unsplash, which I went in Photoshop, and originally this was a yellow wall, but I just changed the hue so that I could make it pink and fit my brand. And then I even got a little bit crazy with creating a collage, because one of the things I found on my Pinterest board was I loved kind of the collagey, artsy images. So I created this very psychedelic image in Photoshop. So I'm excited to see how that turns out and how all this stuff sort of changes the vibe of my account. I think it's already looking a lot more lively. So I'm excited. I hope you guys enjoy making a brand style guide. And if you do, please share them with me because I just think they're the most inspiring thing.